All right, the time has finally come today. Football teams from all across the basin were put to the test with some district play. The 6A's were fresh off of their bye week, and it was also time to see if the field before the non-district slate had tested some of these familiar opponents. Well, to get us started, we had a couple of reporters out in both Midland and Odessa. They were there to witness some great competition and the rivalry, of course. Jason Freund out in Midland at Astound Broadband Stadium, and then we have Tyler Dubnik working his hardest to stay dry over at the Rumble at Ratliff, which is where we're going to start, between Odessa High and Permian. What a great way to start district play, right? A little crosstown rivalry. Our Marcus Risen was out at Ratliff earlier this afternoon to assess the state of this rivalry.
Odessa versus Permian. One of the biggest rivalries in West Texas high school football. With a rivalry this big, there's bound to be some knowledgeable tailgaters hard at work, hours before the game. We asked them some hard-hitting questions.
Honestly, it's just about tradition.
It's big. It's very big.
It means some good, clean fun.
Competing against the best.
You know, there's always been back and forth between OHS and Permian.
Like OHS versus Permian has been the biggest rivalry of all of Texas. It's very well known. You all know Friday Night Lights.
But it normally means that you're familiar with your opponent, that you know them well.
Something that means a lot to this town, even though it's always going to be a big thing. I believe we're just a big family,
and that you're willing to battle fiercely. And so this rivalry's known for that.
You get the best of the best out here on a Friday night in one of the greatest stadiums, I believe, in the state of Texas. It has a lot of sacred ground, a lot of memories made here. Hey, I graduated with Roy Williams, former Dallas Cowboy, Lion, Chicago Bear, and all that. We're good friends. I see him all the time, and he may be at the game tonight.
Number 15, Johnny Campos. Thank you very much.
My brother. He was a cornerback in the 95 team. Number 16, Jaime Varela.
As a youth pastor, all of my students who play are, of course, collectively my favorites.
I think he was 77. That was my best friend, Raymond Rodriguez.
But there's some great kids on both those teams, whether it be Ivan Carrion on OHS, or you've got some guys like Harris Sewell and others on Permian that are great kids. It is much like a college atmosphere, just far more rowdy.
It's just like a big old party.
It's electric. You feel the energy on both sides, whether you're cheering for Permian, whether you're cheering for OHS, you feel all that electricity, all that energy.
The talk of the town.
Oh, the atmosphere is unbelievable. I mean, you got a sold-out stadium here.
And the momentum ebbs and flows along the game.
Everybody cheering back and forth, and you can just feel the energy.
Excitement, you know, the days leading up to the game is very exciting.
There is no other high school football game in Texas like it.
Well, some pretty exciting stuff, and that's where our Tyler Dubnik was at earlier. Tyler, did this game live up to the hype?
Yeah, Jen, I am roughing it out. It's raining, it's cold, but the first half was a lot better. The weather was nice, a lot of highlights. This is my first time at Odessa against Permian. It was an amazing atmosphere here at Ratliff Stadium. And let's go ahead and take a look at those first half highlights. One of the best rivalries in all of Texas high school football, Permian versus Odessa High at Ratliff Stadium. An absolutely packed crowd for both sides. In the first quarter on the opening drive for the Panthers, it's quarterback Rodney Hall up the middle 8 yards. He bangs his way into the end zone for the touchdown. Ball came loose, but he was in for the score, and the senior was letting everybody on OHS sideline know about it afterwards, talking trash. Later on in the first quarter, OHS with an opportunity here. Jalen Jones on 4th and goal, trying to make something happen on a scramble, and he's taken down by Kason Clinton. Turnover on downs. The Panthers would later on cash in the second quarter with a 1-yard touchdown plunge by running back Justice Laura to make it 17-0 Mojo. And then late, providing more physicality yet again with 1 second left as time expires in the first half. Laura up the middle with another 1-yard touchdown. A fantastic drive by the Panthers to score right before the half to make it 24-0 Permian. Here with Permian head football coach Jeff Ellison. And coach, you guys winning 38-7 tonight over Odessa High. All 5 touchdowns on the ground. You guys seem to be the more physical team. Can you speak on the mindset or rather the execution of your game plan today?
I was really pleased with the execution. Yeah, we felt good about our front five up front, and our 2 tight ends came in, so we did game plan with that. I was pleased with how well we ran the ball, and I was also pleased with our defense and how well they had some good players, and hats off to our defensive staff and what they had planned for them.
Yeah, final score tonight from Ratliff Stadium, 38-7, Permian with the win over Odessa High. I got a chance to talk to Coach Jeff Ellison afterwards for Permian. He was very pleased with the execution of the game plan. They had all 5 of their touchdowns were on the ground. They were the more physical team tonight. They're still undefeated now, 1-0 in district play as well. They've won 9 straight games against their crosstown rivals. Coming into tonight, they were averaging 30 points margin of victory, and they won by 31 tonight. So, Jenna, it was certainly a great night for Mojo. Their side of the crowd had a lot of fun tonight, certainly.
Thanks, Tyler. Wow, 31 when the margin's usually 30. Pretty cool. Now on to our next 6A district competition between Midland High and San Angelo Central. And Jason Freund had a front row seat for this one. Jason, did the Bulldogs keep the good times rolling?
Well, unfortunately for Midland High, they're going to open up district play with a loss, despite having some good opportunities in the first half, scoring a touchdown in their first play, in their first possession, mind you. Unfortunately, they did squander many opportunities in the red zone. There was a 3-and-out. There was a touchdown from Bailey Perez. Unfortunately, San Angelo was just much tougher on the offense, going 21-10 in the first half. And speaking of the first half, let's look at some highlights from that half. Midland High kicking off district play at home and squaring off with the San Angelo Central Bobcats on a cloudy Friday night. Midland marched down the field in their first possession, and Mecky McCoy cashes in from the 3-yard line for his first touchdown of the game. Later in the first, we got ourselves a tie ball game. Jake Cunningham pitches to McCoy. He gets a block, makes a man miss. Little stutter step to throw another Bobcat off him, and he's out of bounds for a 20-plus yard gain. Now Midland deeper in a hole, need points. McCoy again on the toss, tries to avoid a man but goes down after a long 30-yard gain. San Angelo is up in this one, 21-10 at the half.
Can you tell me what you told your players in the locker room after the game?
Yeah, the main thing we talked about is that all of our goals are still in front of us, and so we're extremely disappointed with the outcome of this, and the way we played that led to that outcome. But the fact is we still got 4 weeks left. And so all the goals that we set for ourselves back in the spring and the summer, we're not going to fold up now, and just because this didn't go our way tonight. So we've got to watch the tape and just get back in the horse tomorrow and figure out how to be better, and that's what these guys will do.
Now, I must apologize, as that was not Mecky McCoy scoring that first touchdown and getting those runs. It was, in fact, Briley Perez getting those runs in the highlights. However, Mecky McCoy was very, very busy in the second half, scoring 2 touchdowns. And Midland even pulling out a little bit of a Philly special for a 2-point conversion. However, they needed to get an onside kick on 28-25 down in the fourth quarter. Unfortunately, they could not recover that onside kick, and San Angelo took the victory formation, took a couple knees, and sent Midland home with a loss. That's all from me from Midland and from Astound Stadium. I'm Jason Freund. Jenna, back to you.
Well, thanks, Jason. We've got everything by way of the 6A district start. Legacy may be on the road, but we still got you covered with that battle against Friendship. Well, it was the Tigers getting things going right away with this pass from Hudson Hutchinson. He kind of steps back in the pocket and finds his receiver Leighton Stone up the middle, and he finds pay dirt. Tigers would lead 7-0. A little later in the quarter, Legacy still fighting with the punt return that they would bring all the way back to the 25-yard line to put the team in pretty good scoring position. Now, with 2 minutes left to go in the first, it's Davila who drops the ball and finds number 1, Skylar Wilburn, the wide receiver, wide open and brings it into the end zone with ease. Midland finally got on the board and trailed 21-7, ended up losing that one over in Lubbock. Sticking in Midland, the Mustangs over at MCS hosted the Saints from All Saints from Fort Worth for their first TAPS contest. This clash started off quickly with the Saints special teams group giving the offense great starting field position by taking the opening kickoff down to right around the red zone 20-25 yard line. So that was a tough start for the Mustangs, and It was the Saints who came in and took advantage on offense with this pass catch, and then it was QB Jalen Spriggs who takes it in for himself for the first score of the game from 1 yard out. And now it's time to see what the Mustangs offense can do. It's signal caller Blake Pruitt who finds an opportunity to counter and trots down the middle of the field for a big game. But when one quarterback impresses, the other seems to have an immediate answer. It's Springs again for the rushing TD to end the first quarter, up 13-7. Midland Christian ended up pulling that one out. Well, coming up, it's Monahans who hosted its first district game. See how that shook out. And Crane and Reagan County keeps us going here on Overtime next. Welcome back to Overtime. We made it through the clashes happening in Midland and the Odessa area, but what about the rest of the contest in the Basin to catch us up on all of the action? Look who it is. It is Aaron Gelvin, not out in the field. He's here with us in studio, and he's going to take us around the area. Aaron, please take it away.
Hey, that's right, Jenna. We had so many big games tonight. Before we get started, though, big shout out to our guys, Tyler Dupnick and Jason Freund, out there in the rain, in the elements. Fantastic job tonight, boys. Let's take things out to Monahans. They were hosting Pecos tonight, where the Eagles were trying to bounce back on the road after a couple of tough losses. And let's start with the Lobos with the ball in the red zone right here. Quarterback Chino Navarrete, he's going to keep it himself off of the fake, and it's a 21-7 lead for Monahans. And right here we have the Eagles punting on fourth down. Oh no, the snap goes over his head, recovered by the Lobos in great field position. And then there goes that man again on the very next play. Navarrete going to keep the ball again, and 10 yards later, he is in the end zone, putting Monahans up 28-7. All smiles for the Lobos tonight as they would cruise to a 49-10 victory. Now, let's hear from the head coach of the Lobos after the big win tonight.
3 wins in a row going into district play now. How do you feel about tonight's win?
Well, I feel good about it. We're happy that our kids played a complete game, battled through some adversity, and they did a great job finishing the game the way they're supposed to.
Well, coming up next, speaking of district action, we had more of that on the docket as well as we move to Crane, where the Crane Golden Cranes hosted Alpine. The Bucks were coming off of a blowout win last week, and we're looking to keep the party rolling on the road. Well, we had a defensive slugfest in this one as neither offense gaining much traction. It was going to be important for the Cranes in this one to stop that fierce Bucks rushing attack that absolutely torched Tornillo last week. Crane on their first drive, you're just about to see it. It's Keaton Cena going to throw a dart over the middle, just reading the field. That's a perfect pass for an early touchdown. But as I mentioned, not much else going on offensively in a low-scoring game. In fact, that Crane defense pitched a shutout in this one right here. You're going to see a little interception, and they would go on to win this one 14-0. And Reagan County, well, they're coming off of a thrilling overtime win last week over Kermit, and they go back on the road tonight where they will face Forsan. Let's check on those highlights. The Buffaloes looking to defend the home field, and the Owls looking to stay hot, as I mentioned. Forsan's defense really set the tone early in this game as number 38, Grant Roman, he's going to swoop in for the interception to put the first 6 on the board. Next, it was time for that offense to eat as well. Ball's going to get handed off here to Kevin Kilgora, who dodges some defenders for a touchdown. The Buffaloes, hey, they weren't just happy with a lead rolling into half. They wanted to be dominating. It's number 64, Weston Thomas, going to apply the pressure. That forces a fumble. Nolan Park gets his opportunity. He's going to scoop and score, running the distance to make it 26-0. Forsan all over Reagan County in this one. They win 40-7. And the action isn't just limited to just tonight, as we had district action last night as Fort Stockton hosted Clint. I talked to their head coach, Jeremy Hickman, before the game about what the Panthers needed to do to stay undefeated.
All right, I'm here with the head coach of the Fort Stockton Panthers, Coach Hickman. Your defense has been fantastic so far this year. What has to happen tonight for that to continue?
Well, we need to win on first down. You know, Clint does a great job running the ball. They've run the wishbone offense for a long time, and so on our end, we need to do a good job on first down, get them behind the sticks. But we've also got to be able to adjust to some of their formations they throw at us as well.
Hey, that Clint offense had nothing to do with that Fort Stockton defense, let me tell you. The Panthers took their coach's message and ran with it, and they would have to do it all season. They've been doing it all season, I should say, on the shoulders of that stingy defense, which has been giving up less than 8 points per game so far this year. The Panthers started fast after a Clint fake punt that went horribly wrong, and they took an early 7-0 lead there. The Lions, they struggled to do anything at all, as I mentioned, against that vaunted Fort Stockton defense, and an interception here led to another Panther score, and the defense just kept setting up the Panther offense in good position all night long. QB Marco Garcia getting a handoff here for the touchdown, and a 2-point conversion left Fort Stockton leading at the break 21-0. They would go on to pull away even further, winning 41-0. Hey, that's going to do it for me. Jenna, I know we've got some action going on in Wink tonight. How did the Wildcats fare this evening?
Well, thanks, Aaron, so much for catching us up on everything we needed to know. Nice to have you here in studio this evening. The undefeated Wildcats had already played their first district opponent, and then they welcomed the Eagles from El Dorado tonight. Well, this one got off to a sloppy yet exciting start with 3 fumbles in 3 minutes. The Wildcats fumble, and then the Eagles fumble, and then guess what? The Wildcats again. The score 0-0 after 1. In the second frame, Wink started to get things going offensively with this impressive play. It's QB Cannon Gibson with some trouble breaking out of the pocket, and then loses the cameraman, hits the spin move, and before you know it, he's going in for 6, and that would jumpstart this attack. And the turnover machine ended up helping out the Wildcats in the second, because after an Eagle turnover on downs, Gibson capitalized with a dart to throw to the end zone to Ethan Cahill to make it 14-0 at the half, and Wink would continue to go on and win. All right, we're back with top plays. These are the highlights of the highlights, the best of the best. You're going to want to make sure to go to my Twitter page tomorrow morning at 8:30, where you can find all of these top plays. Let's start with some quarterback action out in Wink. It's Cannon Gibson who evades pressure and runs for 6 in an uber impressive escape, and then trotting for the end zone. That would be the only offensive nominee this week. And on the defensive side, it's Crane and Carlos Garcia with the strip interception forcing the turnover. And speaking of defense, it's Forsan's defense who really sets the tone early in this game. It's Grant Roman who scoops the interception and puts 6 on the board. All right, so remember to be sure to vote for that. That's all we have tonight for Overtime. As always, throughout this week, we will have coverage from all the 6A schools and more, so you're going to want to stay tuned. And we'll be back with Game Time and Overtime next Friday starting at 10. All right, see you guys next week.
You know that